Welcome back, everyone, to Union Smack right here on Hibiki TMD and ProWrestlingJournal.com. We are back to our usual protocol, reviewing NXT UK Weekly. I am not alone, though. I'm joined, as always, by my exuberant, ecstatic co-host, Maniac Masked Tenant. What's going on, man?
Ecstatic, yeah, that'll be the day. Same as usual, Travis, and you can find me on Twitter at The Perfect Tenant. I just noticed you didn't tell me where to tell everyone to find me. I thought I'd do that, not go back.
I feel like after almost 3 years, I can take the training wheels off at this point. I think you could. You learned how to ride.
Yeah. Take the stabilizers off. I can do it. Yeah, you can follow me on Twitter at The Perfect Tenant. You can log on to unionsmack.bigcartel.com, pick up all the official merchandise, the t-shirts, my Undertaker book, A Trip Down Death Valley, also available from completelynovel.com. And that's it.
Well, that's not it. You can also follow me on Twitter at the Hibiki TMD. And yeah, hit that red subscribe down below. All the goodness. And man, I'm assuming you're ecstatic because finally we have a pretty damn good episode of NXT UK to talk about this week. Pretty solid.
Yeah, I mean, let's be honest, the bar isn't.
It's not
exactly high,
but that doesn't matter.
Commentary, but I feel like even if it was high, episode 87 would it at least touch the bar because this was a damn good episode for once. One
of the better ones we've had this year. Yeah, that's very fair to say.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I'd put this like number one out of possibly the entire York tapings and from what we've had from Coventry so far.
Yeah, same. This is better than anything we got from York, I would say.
Yeah, agreed.
No, like you said, we're back in Coventry. Let's get right into it. Episode 87, right?
Yes. We're nearly at 100, Travis. We're nearly at that anniversary milestone.
Getting so close. You think WWE's even going
to do nothing for?
Do you think WWE's even going to give two shits and even make it a milestone episode, or just have it like every other episode of UK when it finally comes around in like a couple months?
I think it'll be like every other episode.
Me too.
Because I mean, right now I'm 13 weeks. So what's that? 3 months away. We don't even know whether there's going to be any tapings from Bournemouth yet, so everything's going to be delayed, everything's going to be bumped up. So, I think they'll just breeze through it and not give a fuck, which is a shame.
Do you find yourself doing that too lately? Like I just did on air, like there's so much shit going on in the world. Everything really is, like you said, literally up in the air for all wrestling promotion. You find yourself forgetting sometimes and you just have so much foresight into looking into future booking and stuff. I'm like, oh, wait a minute, there might not be it, you know what I mean? I totally just did that.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Yeah,
it's unprecedented and weird fucking time, man. There's never been anything like this for wrestling, I feel like. Except maybe like World War II or something.
Yeah, the World War we didn't live through. But, yeah, I know what you're saying. I mean, I was making notes for this show, and several times I put down about Takeover Ireland, what was I going to say, Takeover Dublin, and realising that it's not going to happen now until October. So yeah, the world's a crazy place, Travis, and it's making us crazy by the day.
Hopefully by then, I'll say this before we get to any like going down the format and shit, is this just sticks out because every week, and we'll get to it later on, but man, I just want to say something now. I got to. Piper Niven just seems less and less like herself every week. At this point, she's essentially a corpse in her promos. If they carry out this fucking feud to October, I'm going to go insane.
Well, luckily, I don't think the next takeover will be in October. I think we're going to get one in summer, everything being okay. But so everything from Dublin will move forward to whenever the next takeover is, and then obviously we'll get Dublin in October. It was just the fact that there were no more gaps in the arena's schedule until October the 25th, so they had to reschedule it for then.
Gotcha. Clear as day. Well, what did that kick us off with on this week's edition of NXT UK, Matt? Let's get into it.
We began with a very nice video package for Jordan Devlin versus Travis Banks for the Cruiserweight Championship. I very much like this. I thought it was better than their video. Was it last week? Episode 86 of that really good video package? Or was it the week before? Yes. I remember you saying it's like it made you care about that feud again.
This one, I'm right with you. It was even better than that first one.
Yeah. I'll be honest, it's like after that first one, I still wasn't too... Well, yeah, it's been a year. Do I really care? But yeah, watching this, it got me in the mood for it. And NXT UK, as we've said, week in and week out, do their video packages just to perfection.
Their vignettes are so outside of the box too. We'll get there later on, but they may have done one of my favorite vignettes in NXT, the history of this show, later on in the show. When we get to Gallus, we'll get there. Just the way it was shot. I mean, not like their promo, but just like the aesthetic was great. It was like a movie. It's like a mob movie.
Yeah, couldn't agree more.
That after the vignette, we had tag action kicking this off, correct?
We did. Imperium versus Ashton Smith and Oliver Carter. And I'm still not sold on Smith and Carter as a team. I think if they're going to go all the way with them, if they're going to, make them a long-term tag team like they did Kenny Williams and Amir Jordan, then they need a team name, they need matching gear, and, they need something better than this to be taken seriously, because all I see is two jobbers who they've got no more ideas for.
Speaking of being taken seriously, this may be the match that irked me the most on this whole show. Taken seriously. Imperium have yet to win the tag titles, right? Why are teams like this getting in so much offense when they should be steamrolling guys right now in the top heel stable on the path to the titles? And I get it, the champs are heels. It doesn't matter. It's wrestling. It all comes full circle eventually. Another babyface team can get it by then. Andrews will come back from the injury and maybe they'll upset him and win him, and then Imperium beats Andrews and West. But still, this shouldn't have gone more than 3 fucking minutes for me. Period.
Yeah, and again, I couldn't agree more. And I say that every week. But, change the script a bit. But, Imperium look weak against these teams when they should look dominant and, fearsome. And I don't know why when Smith and Carter have had nothing serious before this, they're going to have nothing serious after this. I think they're in the Battle Royal next week.
Right.
And you're giving them like 7-8 minutes against Imperium, and they're getting in arguably more offense than the heels did.
And they did the exact opposite the other week in Kaylee Ray's match with her opponent, whose mind I'm just drawing a blank right now, but you know who I'm talking about. I don't know why I'm drawing a blank. Danny Luna, yes. She's the one that should have got more in, not these fucking schlubs, but it is what it is. I always prefer Ashton Smith with Amir Jordan. I think everyone will, who was a fan of that team. There was just some kind of chemistry there that these two obviously don't have for me.
Do you mean Kenny Williams and Amir Jordan?
My God, yes, you're right. That's a team I miss. But I feel like in a way, this team, they're kind of trying to make it a Band-Aid. Kind of just for the lack of having Jordan and Williams. Like, it's another goofy team people can get behind. No, it's not the same for me.
Well, as far as I'm aware, Jordan and Williams are still together. They're just not doing anything with them. Which, it's criminal, because as much as I've bemoaned Kenny Williams and Amir Jordan together, I'd much prefer to see them in a team than, in singles action, which we've been seeing lately. But I think it was on this episode where, the commentators would allude to them still being a team, but they've just got nothing for them. It's amazing the amount of depth this tag team division has got, and that they could add still with teams like Smith and Carter and who was it, Dan Maloney and Reese Gordon. If they booked them seriously, if they took them seriously, you could just add so much more depth to this tag team division. You've got teams that can go. You've got interesting, partnerships, and yet, underneath Gallus, there's just nothing. There's no storyline. There's no interest. I don't know why.
How did you feel about Andy Shepherd this week, overall?
I think he did a little bit better. It's still going to take some weeks to get used to him on commentary. And I think he obviously needs to gel better with Nigel McGuinness.
Right.
What's this? The third week from Coventry now? Second, third week from Coventry.
Well,
So
and this one too, there were some taped in sound bites about WrestleMania being 2 days, so you can tell he's been in the studio recently, doing some stuff.
Did you get that soundbite about? Did you get that soundbite from? I think it was Nigel McGuinness, and it was obviously inserted afterwards, and he sounded so quiet and faint. It was really unnerving.
You know what? Now that you say that, that is unnerving that I would think about, because he's had a lot of health issues. And I don't want to, just think about.
Yeah, he has.
I'm not going to think about that. What could be? No, I think he's getting better. I feel like he's capable of growing into it more and more. It's not like he's getting worse every week, so that's something.
So, and let's be honest, this was maybe 2.5, 3 hours into his first time behind the commentary desk.
Right.
So it's not like he's had weeks to do it. Yeah. This was all recorded on one night, so. Yeah, I think 2 or 3 more months down the line, then they'll be flawless together when they've had the chance to properly gel.
Matt, where did that take us to next?
After Imperium won with the European bomb, that took us to the Gallus video package.
This was fantastic.
I'll let you cover this one because, I liked it, but I obviously didn't like it as much as you did.
Verbally, more of the same shit from Gallus. Nothing new or groundbreaking, but aesthetically, like I was saying, the way this was shot, I want to see more of this kind of stuff. I hate using this term, especially when it comes to wrestling, because it's so overused, but realism. Not just standing backstage in front of a fancy sign, looking off camera. No, just why should we fucking care about these guys? And obviously, you want to make a group like this seem like legitimate badasses, Gallus boys on top. Shots like this help, in my opinion.
No, they help. They don't help when they're followed by poor booking and no solid story ideas. But I liked the way it was shot. I liked that it ended on the 3 king playing cards. That was very good. And this is a sort of video package you do and you insert when you've got a plan for them. When you've got a big plan for Gallus to go into a massive storyline for the tag championships. When you've got a big feud for Joe Coffey. I just think this was very misplaced, considering all that this was to do was to build them for a battle royal. None of them are going to win.
You know what I think would have put this whole thing over the top, and it's something we've talked about time and time again over the months and years since she's been there on the show. If there was one more piece of this puzzle missing in this vignette, the godfather, if you will, the boss, the godmother, and they all answer to Kaylee Ray. They're like her little fucking, you know what I mean? Her little minions and shit, and like this Scottish mafia. I think they should shock people with the next takeover, the next title defense, and help Kaylee Ray win the title. Be dastardly pieces of shit and interfere in a women's match. And then you form the group. It gives all 4 of those people something else to do, another layer. It adds another layer to Kaylee Ray. They should totally book her like that Spike Dudley boss and the Dudley Boys around type deal. You know what I mean? The little dog bosses around the big dog, but done right. Not like that was done. Exactly, but you know what I mean.
I see where you're coming from. Kaylee Ray would be much more believable in that role than Spike Dudley because she is somewhat fearsome, and you'd see why they'd follow her. I like that idea. They definitely need something to rebrand them, to reinvigorate them, and Kaylee Ray is obviously going to need something else after this feud with Piper Niven's done.
Plus, if her main shtick is she's bossing around these 3 Gallus boys who aren't small guys, what do you think that's going to make her, like, intimidation-wise in the women's division then? That just adds another, like, air about her, I feel like, if they do that.
Yep, I agree. But then I think if they do that by all means, but then eventually you're going to need a group to go up against them, with 3 guys and a woman in. And now British Strong Style is not really anymore. Where'd you get that from?
Oh, that's easy. Nina Samuels and Pretty Deadly. Form that stable. There you go. I'm just kidding.
Oh, please.
The Fashionistas. No, you know what you call that group? Put Jenny in there too, all 4 of them. You call them the Runway.
Ooh, I that. Very good.
And by the way,
I can't see any of.
only on this show are you going to get Kaylee Ray compared to Spike Dudley. Only here. That's why they listen.
We're unique. Nowhere else will you get that comparison ever.
Wait, what did you think about this, Matt? This vignette?
I mean, I enjoyed it. Like I said, I think it was misplaced. It could have been saved for when they've got something bigger for the three of them. But, you know, it kept them in the public eye. It was well shot. And, yeah, more of it, but more of it to mean something, please.
Are we back to in-ring action, or was this Mark Andrews giving, or not? I'm sorry. Flash Morgan Webster giving a medical update.
No, this was the first of 1, 2. Hang on, let me count. 1, 2, 4, 3 to 4 declarements for next week's number one contenders battle royal. And I mean, they didn't even mean anything. First, it was Mustache Mountain, then it was Alexander Wolf, and then it was Ashton Smith and Oliver Carter, all declaring for the battle royal.
None of them meant anything, but Mustache Mountain one was a little too silly for me. It was alright.
I mean, let me look at the notes. I don't know why they're making Mustache Mountain out to be just like this. They've gone from almost the number one tag team in NXT UK. They've split them. Trent Seven's gone off to Eddie Dennis. Tyler Bates obviously had that war against Walter, and then Jordan Devlin. And now it's just like, well, we don't really have much else for them to do. Maybe we've got Finn Balor for Tyler Bates. Why don't we just try a bit of comedy with them?
And it
doesn't sit well.
It absolutely blows my mind that you have this, like we say it all the time, this essential all-star team of UK talent. You got Trent Seven and Tyler Bate, and you don't know what to do with them. Hey, it's 1990. I got these two guys on my roster called Hogan and Warrior. I don't know what the fuck to do with these two guys. Not a clue. None. Jesus.
I mean, it doesn't inspire hope, does it, that they've run out of ideas for them already, and yet nobody's pitched. Let's just turn them against each other.
For me, no, not at the end of the day. When Cassius Ohno gets more fucking TV time than both these guys combined lately, no, it doesn't. It sucks, and it's very frustrating, and it's a case of why the hell did you bring... I don't get it. I'm not going to rant about it, but Jesus Christ, sometimes, like, talent and just how good they are overall as a total package writes itself. You don't even have to think to book talent like that sometimes. It's just like, there's the top of my card. Let them go from there. They're that good. They've been doing this shit for fucking years. I don't get it.
And it's not great when two people on the podcast have been saying this for what, a year, maybe a year and a half, and the people in charge of them are just haven't even thought of it, not once.
I'm a fan of Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy. I really am, but there's no reason I should get on social media and those two have more of a buzz than these two. That what kind of world are we in right now? It's criminal how much underutilized this roster is. I say it all the time, and it's I don't even know what to call it. That there's nothing at NXT TakeOver for this brand. There's nothing at Mania. Fucking no mention of NXT UK at all. And I know Mania is a shit show this year. But you just put Austin Theory on the card. You can't throw in a UK title match, for fuck's sake, on the pre-show at least? Who even cares at this point about this Mania? Do anything. Doesn't matter. Being honest. Does anybody really fucking give a shit about Mania at this point? Let's be totally honest.
I mean, I don't particularly. I'm interested maybe to see Big Evil, Undertaker return, American Badass, but... apart from that, not really.
I'm excited for the Drew match and maybe Big Evil. And that's about it. That's really, I mean, it is what it is. But yeah, it's criminal, these guys, more and more. There's no buzz on this brand. We say it all the time. It's up there with 205 Live, TNA back in the day, TNA now with no buzz on it. It's just, man, it's heartbreaking.
Yeah, it is, especially when we've put so much into it as like fans, and we followed it so closely. It's just, could you not just give us something better than this?
But we don't want to be broken records. Let's give them some new material. What was up next on NXT UK?
I'm assuming this was your favourite match of the entire evening, because it was mine. I raved to you on Twitter about this. Nina Samuels versus Aoife Valkyrie. Do
This
you want to take this away, Travis? Or
this wasn't my favorite match. I mean, obviously the Devlin match was my favorite match, but this was Nina Samuels.
okay.
If my eyes could be literal hearts right now, they would.
Well, there we go. I don't know how to answer that.
No, I'll tell you what. It was finally nice to see someone in there who didn't make Aoife Valkyrie look like a weekend warrior, who made her actually look like she was worth a shit to me, and not just who. Why is this person cosplay? This, I don't know. Finally, I took a Valkyrie match seriously, and that's credit to both women. I think this is the best Valkyrie's look since she's been there. She's tightening up the screws a little bit. Maybe then it was nerves or something at first. Can't blame her. I don't know.
I mean, it might have been nerves, but I did note here that she got a much better reception than she's got the previous two times. So maybe people are catching on to her now. Maybe people are looking at her and going, well, she could be a serious threat to Kaylee Ray at some point. Because the match itself got quite a good reception from the fans.
This match,
and I have to say,
it was more hard hitting than I thought it was going to be.
Yes, and can I just say before we get into the match, the crowd for this episode were 10 times better than they've been in the past 2 weeks.
I agree. This, you know what? And it's weird to think this about. You look at this match on paper. This match had a little bit of everything. There was some ground game in this match. They got nasty. Nina Samuels is a bitch of a heel. She's fantastic in that cocky, arrogant movie star role. She is. It's not. That's not even my biased.
I think as much as you like the idea of her with Ginny, I think Nina Samuels could probably lead a heel stable on her own if they keep this Nina Samuels and don't, revert to the comedy shit.
I'm such a big fan of both, and it's like picking my favorite kid. But if you lined up Jenny next to Nina Samuels, in which we've seen that in progress because they're in a group, I feel like Nina Samuels jumps off the screen way more. I feel like that should be flipped over there in progress when they were a group and stuff, and then Nina should have been kind of the leader,
That would have been interesting to see, because she's got the bitchiness and she's got the... I'm not going to say the character just yet, because NXT UK haven't really explored the character as much as Progress have, but if you turn that up to 10 and put her at the top of a stable, then there's no reason why that shouldn't work and why she shouldn't be elevated by that.
Nina Samuels and Jenny are also two women in that division who I feel like probably more than any other in that division, flat out. Maybe not Kaylee Ray, but if you just let them go on a promo, they'll come up with some pretty good shit on their own, like we've seen them do in the indies.
Yeah, and you know what? Not just in the promo. Let them go in the ring on their own, because this can't have been NXT UK produced and micromanaged, because this was so much better than any women's match we've seen since... I'm going to say since TakeOver Blackpool 2.
It's insane how little we've talked about this topic in years, and we'll do it for a little bit here. We won't go long-winded on it, but I feel like NXT UK might have the most slack as far as the guys having creativity in the ring. Like, yes, they got to face the hard cam and all the standard shit, but I feel like they're given more leniency when I watch all the brands, even NXT. I feel like they don't have to work the WWE style as much.
Yeah. And you know what? I think that's because, obviously, the people who work behind NXT UK are, the majority of people who did or currently do work for Progress. They know better than the WWE staff what these wrestlers can do without micromanagement. So, I think with the WWE staff not knowing, you know what I'm trying to say.
I know exactly what you're trying. It's like, and plus the UK staff that's behind the scenes for this, they know what UK fans are and aren't going to accept either in the wrestling.
Yeah.
Flat out.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. Yeah.
So yeah, but it's you can just tell that these guys are given a lot more than a 205 Live or NXT or Raw, especially Raw. That's the epitome of not being able to do shit, really. But yeah. Matt, what did you think of the match? Nina Samuels, Aoife Valkyrie.
I loved this match. I tweeted you immediately after I watched it, sung its praises. Both women looked fantastic here, and I think if Aoife Valkyrie keeps this up and they allow her to do what she does in the ring to the best of her ability. Don't get me wrong, she's not perfect. She's still got flaws, and there's still some timing issues here and there. But this match, shows she's growing. They put her against the right opponents for the next few months, give her a good story. And I know it's a lot to ask of NXT UK right now, because they haven't done that with their top stars, let alone a debutante. But if they do that, then you could have a solid challenger for the Women's Championship at some point this year. But I still want to see Nina Samuels after this. I want to see Nina Samuels be pushed to the top. Let her go out. Let her do what she did here. Turn that character up to 10 and let's see how obnoxiously entertaining she can be.
You guys don't understand either. Like when you texted me about this match after you watched it, he was shocked. Matt was shocked at how much he liked this match. He really was. You got me so hyped to watch it too, because I was already hyped because my girl was in it, and then you got me even more hyped, and it lived up to it. So thanks.
And when I told you how good it was, you said to me, "Is this a rib?"
I did, verbatim.
But no, it wasn't a rib. It really is that good, and I suggest everybody goes and checks this match out.
What do you think how they've tweaked? One last thing on it. Nina Samuel's entrance, that little movie star spotlight when she gets to the ring. Like they shut the lights off except that one little light. I like it.
Yeah, me too. And I think there's the signs, Travis. The signs that they might be not repackaging her completely because she's still as she was, but little changes here and there. She's obviously improving in the ring. I think they're getting ready at some point to put some more stock into her, and fingers crossed that this time it works, because it didn't work against Toni Storm, and she was just lost after that Women's Championship match last year.
Yeah, exactly. One of the two best matches on the show. This is one of them. I would say go out of your way to watch this. There's other women's wrestlers out there right now besides Sasha and Bayley. Believe it or not.
Yeah.
Where are we at next, Matt?
We are at highlights of Kaylee Ray attacking Danny Luna, then Piper Niven saving her, and then
the fucking state of this hat. What was in this goddamn hat?
God knows.
Why was it so high above her head? It was at least like 7 inches off her head. It was distracting. It took away from anything she said, which was monotone and fucking dull as dishwater to begin with. Wow. This is the worst I've ever seen of this woman since she's been in WWE. Flat out.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you summed it up right there. She's, it looks like she's dead inside. Like her soul has just been wrung through the WWE machine. And
already?
She came here. Already, she's been here, a year now? I think Coventry last year she debuted, and she's already just been wrung out to dry. She came to WWE thinking this would be the next big step in her career, and so far she's had a feud with Rhea Ripley. She's had a 3-way with Kaylee Ray and Toni Storm. Pardon the expression.
You meant to do that.
That's it for her. Maybe.
Well, the show did originally start as Slam Pigs.
That's it. 2 high-profile-ish feuds. One of them wasn't even on pay-per-view, and then a very good 3-way.
You of all people know that very rarely am I speechless at a loss of words. I'm literally right now trying to figure out what the fuck I still watched when I watched this, because it was shockingly fucking bad. It really was.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen her as Viper?
She was just saying like
on the Indies?
Yes, of course, yeah.
How is this the same woman? It blows my mind.
I don't know. They've killed all the interest in her, and that takes some doing. It takes some doing to take a wrestler who was, and still, that's not. We're shooting her down here, but in ICW she's still the dog's bollocks. She's still the bee's knees, the cream of the crop.
Yeah.
This hasn't affected her in ICW, but here she just looks like she wants to go.
Apparently someone told her how to get over was dressing like the pigeon lady from Home Alone too. I don't get it, but man.
Okay, no.
That was that. It was.
Okay, yep.
Thank God that's over. And like I said, I'm still trying to figure out what the hell that was. And I don't know if it's a case of maybe she's burning the candle at both ends. Maybe she's just, because she's carrying the load over there as the top dog, she's just exhausted by the time she works these tapings. I don't know, but somebody give her a cup of coffee.
So someone give her a cup of coffee and at least let her know you've put the camera on, because honestly, this could have been a rehearsal.
I thought they accidentally aired dress rehearsal at first. I really did. I'm like, is this right? Should this be on the hidden gems section of the network, or?
I don't know what's happening to her, but she needs to find that passion quickly, and that might be easier said than done. They've obviously got nothing for her after Kaylee Ray, so maybe it's already a year in. Maybe it's time to just let her go away and refresh.
Did that take us to A-Kid and Noam Dar?
No, that took us first to a highlight video of Mark Andrews being injured last week. Awful little segment.
Yeah, this is the medical update from Webster that was just as bad as the Piper Niven thing, except for other reasons. He overacted, I feel like. He went the other end.
Yeah. He did a Mark Andrews from last week. He literally oversold it, and it looked absurd.
At least nobody yelled like Mastiff this week. What are you doing? Like Mickey Mouse.
I love your impression. I think, though, we're obviously going down the mystery attacker route now. Who attacked Mark Andrews? I just think it'd be great if it was Flash Morgan Webster.
I feel like that guy's tailor-made to be a heel. He's just like a Miz. He's got that punchable goddamn face, like a Noam Dar, a Miz, all those guys.
Yeah.
And I feel like...
Yeah, I can't disagree. Honestly,
unless he's with Webster, have people really gravitated to him as a babyface? Like, they like him, but it's not a relatable gimmick because he's so weird and, like, retro, I guess. And it's easy to play a heel with that mod shit, I feel like, and be arrogant.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, he could be a heel in the blink of an eye. His look, even sometimes the way he wrestles, it's just... You can bring out the entitlement in him, if you like. You can use the gimmick if you have to. But I think it would just be easy just to switch him now. I'm stuttering, and I'll start that again. The team with Mark Andrews is dead in the water now. They've gone as far as they can go. Tag team champions. It was a stretch putting them in the ladder match at TakeOver Blackpool 2. They didn't really belong there. And now I think to keep them both relevant, Flash Morgan Webster needs to be Mark Andrews' attacker. You can get a few months out of this. You can even get a great takeover match out of this. And then, obviously, Mark Andrews goes back to, jerking the curtain. And Flash Morgan Webster could arguably be a top heel contender to the next babyface United Kingdom champion.
What if they did that? They did that match at TakeOver, and Eddie Dennis returns, and he helps Webster win, and that's kind of like a Shawn and Diesel type thing, two-man thing from there. And plus, we know the matches Dennis and Andrews had last year in Progress, which are really good.
Yeah, I would be up for that. Though I feel like, the NXT crowd is too smart for that, because obviously it's always been Andrews and Dennis in the FSU team in Progress. He even vacated the Progress World title with Andrews.
Yeah, but they also know they split up in Progress last year, so it kind of be concurrent with their storyline too.
It might actually be nice to bring a Progress story over into NXT UK, because they've got nothing else for Mark Andrews, and you just know they're going to have nothing else for Eddie Dennis when he actually does return to the ring. So,
that's so weird. We haven't gotten that at least once, especially because they're pretty friendly with the Progress guys. We've seen them ringside for takeovers many times. You know, they acknowledge them. They put their names on a graphic. Do that. I guarantee you that'll get a buzz going somewhat if they do that. If they incorporate. And I'm not saying a total Progress versus NXT UK card. You can't fight yourselves, but you know.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to incorporate something because there's a lot of wrestlers on the NXT UK roster now who also wrestle for Progress who could do with a storyline or two, borrowed, taken, incorporated, whatever you want from Progress Wrestling.
Because we know the only way those guys are going to work in an indie ring over there anytime soon with this new deal they did, last year, beginning of last year. I mean, certain talent gets a pass, like, Piper Niven and stuff. But, I mean, at the end of the day, a guy like Ashton Smith, I'm sure isn't, allowed to just go work a Progress show right now.
No, he's not. I think it would be very beneficial for everyone, and no one more so than Flash Morgan Webster. I think I've sung his praises for quite a long time. He looked great in the second annual United Kingdom Championship tournament. He was great as a singles wrestler when NXT UK started, and then they just saddled him with the team with Andrews. And that was fine to get him to where they wanted and just fill time until they had something. But I see no better opportunity to really push him forward now and say, this is him, this is what he can do, decide whether he gets over or not.
Webster and Ligero are two of those guys. Like when the second UK tournament came around, they're starting to build it up with hype packages. They were two of the guys they featured as like you thought were going to be standout singles in this brand, if you remember and it just never really panned out for either.
Because they didn't know how to use them properly.
No.
Yeah, I mean, Ligero came in with a mask with horns on and flying all over the place, and they looked at him and went cruiserweight. Flash Morgan Webster came in with a striped Austin Power suit and a helmet, and they obviously looked at him and went, we don't really get the gimmick, but you're fine in the ring.
Yeah. And this is, I mean, it's a dead horse again, but this is why there probably should have been a mid-card title way sooner for this brand also. If you can have a fucking title called a TNT title or a TBS title, wherever the hell that shit is right now, you could get the Union Jack title, anything.
I mean, just bring back the European Championship. There's so many European wrestlers on the brand now. I think it would fit absolutely perfectly.
And take it seriously this time. Don't put it on test. Fucking. Now is the time for A-Kid and Noam Dar.
I mean, this match meant little to me.
I didn't care. I did not care about this match.
I cared that, A-Kid looked at the lights again, because he's another one who, he came in, he stormed straight through the door, victory, looked great, and just, week by week he's been dropping down the ladder. And I don't want to see him go the way of Ligero, go the way of Mark Andrews or Flash Morgan Webster. But he's going to. He's definitely going to. He's classed as one of the cruiserweights of the brand. So that's, 4 they've got now?
Yeah, at least.
They've got a cruiserweight division with 4 competitors in it and no real solid championship at the top because that belongs to NXT in America.
If you want to get real technical too, South Wales Subculture, that counts as 2 more cruiserweights right there if they wanted.
I mean, I'm going to remove Flash Morgan Webster from that because I'm hoping they've got bigger things planned for him. But yeah, you can drop Mark Andrews into. If you want like a real competitive cruiserweight division, then I think Mark Andrews has to be there somewhere.
Yeah. And this, it's not to say this match was fine. I just, of anything on the show, this was the part of the show where I felt myself looking at my phone and kind of zonking out and zoning out. Got to be honest. Never lie.
Yeah. I mean, it was a solid mid-card match. Don't get us wrong. And both men gave it a lot. But you felt like it was more of everything we've seen so far. Yeah. I don't think A-Kid did anything different. I know Noam Dar did nothing different. And so it just turned into another mid-card match to fill time.
Plus, for you and me especially, we're such huge fans of Devlin. We were looking forward to our steak dinner later on in the show. We weren't ready to get our bellies full now, so we were kind of biased a little bit, I would say, is fair, watching this match.
Yes, I mean, I think so. I watched it with eyes that obviously once Noam Dar beats A-Kid, he's, ready for a Cruiserweight Championship shot, because that was obviously where they were going before Dublin was cancelled. Well, postponed. But again, it's just, it's more of the same. There's a more important match coming up later on, so I'd rather they've given Banks and Devlin the 8.5 to, 10 minutes they gave Noam Dar and A-Kid.
Yeah, same. This felt longer than that, too. This just felt long, like a fucking marathon. It felt like these guys went 25 minutes for me.
It did, and that's because it didn't need to be here.
And there wasn't any heat.
But
this was probably the quietest the crowd was, too.
No, there was no heat. There was no story to it, really. And let's not forget that at the time of recording, the fans in the arena don't see the backstage, to and fro that we saw between them last week. So they don't really know why it exists. They're just being presented with a match.
That's something we talk about on our MLW show on here, Cheap Plug, Major League Podcast of their own. That's MLW crowds suffer from the same thing because there's some fantastic vignettes on that show weekly, but those crowds never see them. So they're confused a lot, and there's just no heat for a lot of stuff. And I hate that. Especially MLW and NXT UK both have like little Titantron screens too that you can show shit on. Oh, fuck.
Yeah. That big Titantron screen at the top of the aisle can be seen by the small crowd. It's not like it's a 50,000 seat stadium and there's a large portion of fans sat right at the back who can't see. Everyone can see if they were to show it, and they'd already recorded these earlier in the day. So I don't understand why they don't show the vignettes they've already recorded. Surely it would get the fans at it a bit more.
And it's so ironic because in WWE, it's like the opposite too. It's like, well, they show it then for the 20,000, 50,000 crowds. Then they watch the shit on the screen. If it's a huge crowd, it's like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
it is. It's really frustrating because it does. Like we said, it takes away so much from the match, and this match could have used a hell of a lot of dose of an enthusiastic crowd. But I give the match a pass still. Noam Dar is your winner, and I mean, I hate to say it, man, and I hate to burst your bubble, but I think A-Kid is going to end up like a Ligero, probably worse because I mean, at least with Ligero and Webster's and shit, there's some character to the gimmick. A-Kid's kind of essentially just an indie guy. At the end of the day, they haven't. Why? Who the fuck is this guy? They don't tell us. It's just, oh, he can wrestle. You're gonna like him. Well, that's not enough.
And there's no character to him, and there's no life to him. He just looks good in the ring. I mean, his friendship with Tyler Bate, I think, will help him keep his head above the water. Yeah. But not by much.
It's not the 80s anymore, and you can't sprinkle Hawk dust on guys like a Brutus Beefcake and just that's all you got to do, and the fans are going to accept him. We're way past that. Attention spans have evolved since then.
Yes, well, some of our attention spans have evolved, Travis. Depends what type of fan you are.
This show's almost evolved into the main event. I think there's one more stop before we get there.
There's two very short, small. Yeah. Oh, fuck's sake, it's late. There's two very short, small stops before we get to the main event. First was a Walter vignette chronicling his time as champion. I mean, I don't know whether you want to say anything about that. It wasn't really anything much.
It's nice to see the UK champion for once. What, it's been 2 or 3 weeks now? Something like that? 2 weeks?
We saw him. We saw him on episode 1 from Coventry come down to confront Finn Balor, and that's it. Then he disappeared, and I mean, we might not see him again for another 2 to 3 weeks now.
And that's another guy. Not that he was flamboyant to begin with, but you can just kind of, like with Piper Niven earlier, you can already kind of see, in my opinion, every time I see Walter more and more on my screen, he's not content. He just looks frustrated.
Well, I mean, honestly, I think obviously that's got a lot to do with how they've used him and how they've booked him. But then, I say that, but then they've actually booked him quite well. They've given him the strongest opponents when it mattered. They've let him have the best matches on the card.
Here's my thing with Walter.
So it's hard to see.
I think he had this sweet business plan for himself when he made up his mind. Almost 2 years ago, he was coming to this company. He thought he was going to get this sweet fucking Pete Dunne deal, that they're going to give him that belt and he can go around and make all this money on the indies like Pete did. But when he signed, it was right around the time they put that goddamn contract out, but nope, you're not doing this shit anymore. They've let him do it a little bit, but nothing like Pete did as champ. That's what made Pete such a great champ, because they let him do that, be that journeyman champion. That might be a case of it, too, that had to take a hit in his pocket, not being able to make that huge WXW money for him, because he's the top guy everywhere he went over there. That's got to be salty for him.
And I also think it's partly, like, he came in with such a reputation. Everyone knew who he was. It's not often, you get that anymore.
And he comes out to Survivor Series to fucking crickets.
Well, that's your main WWE, fan base now, isn't it? Like,
well, I'm realizing, but in his head, I'm getting that. But what we're saying, in his mind, he was this big fish in a small pond. But I'm looking at it from like his perspective. How dare these people not know who I am? And a lot of guys go through that. They did back in the day in the territories when they jump, and they go through it now.
Yeah. I mean, I can't disagree with that. What I was going to say though was like he came in with this massive reputation. He was promised, obviously, brought in to dethrone Pete Dunne. He was going to be the man who, finally pinned him for the title, got that big moment, carry the brand forward. And I think Walter expected to be treated like Pete Dunne was treated in WWE.
Yeah.
I think he looked at Pete Dunne and went, look, he's treated like a king by the fans, by management. He is the star. So if I sign with my reputation, surely I'll be treated just as good, if not better, than Pete Dunne was. And that's not always been the case. I don't think NXT UK have served him always with the best storylines. I just think his time in WWE has fallen well short of his expectations. And that's on WWE, but that's also on Walter as well, for maybe believing his own hype too much and expecting too much from a company that have proven that they can't always get it right with the wrestlers they should be hitting the mark with.
To me, I feel like, and you can come back to this episode 2 to 3 years from now, if he's not already a Shinsuke Nakamura, he'll be gone from this company. I don't see him lasting. I really don't.
I don't see.
That's not to discredit him as a performer in any way. That doesn't discredit,
He's still a great performer. I don't know many wrestlers of his size, like in the present or even in the past, that could go 40 minutes with much smaller than him and still make it look credible and realistic, and still have the match be like one of the best matches of the year, if not the decade. But I don't see Walter going to the main roster. I don't see him going to NXT full time, because he's already said he wants to live in Germany. He doesn't want to live in America. I think his NXT UK deal will run out. I don't think he'll renew it. And I think that's possibly the best thing he could do, because after he loses that, it's either NXT or it's, leave. Because he can't be a mid-roster guy. He can't be a mid-card guy. He's either the top or he's nothing.
Do you remember what his initial deal was for? Was it like 2 to 3 years? I cannot remember.
I think it was... Let me think. I think it was 2 years with a... What do you call it? Not a supplement. But you know what I mean, with an underline that he could go and wrestle wherever he wanted, but he had to stick to the original deal that Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate had, where where whichever promotion he wrestled for had to have trained and professional medical staff on standby. They should really be a WWE affiliate, and he obviously had to get permission from Triple H / WWE management if he wanted to stray out of them realms. And I don't think he liked the being pinned in by a contract like that.
It could be a case too where he was pitched one thing and got something else. It's not the first time that's happened in wrestling, I'm sure.
I mean, that's totally possible, but I still find it difficult, to hear that he's not happy with how he's been booked, because 2019 was, arguably his year.
Yeah.
Dethroned Pete Dunne, great feud with British Strong Style,
Maybe it's simply, maybe he's coming from where, Matt, maybe he's coming from where we're coming from, and he's just fed up with the brand in general and no buzz on it and what we bitch about. Maybe that's a case of that too. Maybe that's Piper Nivens' problem. Maybe that is a lot of these guys. But the frustrations, it's got to be a part of it.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see him not being thrilled with being the champion of a brand that is barely recognised. Because you think about it, wherever he's held his major championships have been indie promotions that are well recognised and loved by fans. Progress, WXW, a few others that are well known in other OTT, known well in the countries they're in, but not necessarily outside them borders. But with NXT UK, it's like it was built up to be this massive thing. Here's 2 massive tournaments. He's a champion that can't be beaten, and now it's sort of dropped off.
Yep. Well, they got to do something, man. They got to do something to, even with all of Imperium at this point. I'm getting. I mean, I like the group, and I like that. I love the initial how they just destroyed the roster, but man, it just shake it up. There's just something. I don't know.
Yeah, monotony is setting in fast now.
Only we can take a 30-second Walter vignette and make it like a 10-minute segment.
There's a lot to be discussed. This is important business, Travis.
It really is, and that's why we're here to give you guys the 411 on NXT UK, the most underutilized brand. We are almost there, I promise. We had one little mini segment, then it's main event time.
Yes, this was Dave Mastiff, Cassius Ohno, and Ilya Dragunov declaring for next week's Battle Royal. And I'm assuming you don't want to do 10 minutes on Cassius Ohno.
Is asphyxiation an option right now?
Oh. Do you want to move on to the main event now?
I do, because this was another one that honestly I don't really remember that much because I zoned it completely out. Didn't care. I saw immediately Dave Mastiff was there. I was like, nope, I'm good. And then Ohno didn't add any more layers to that shit cake that I wanted to eat. So there we are. Main event time. My God, talking about ready to eat dessert, dinner, the whole shebang. I was ready for this smorgasbord. What a match. Jordan Devlin, cruiserweight title champ, back defending against Travis Banks. They played off the feud like we talked about. We've seen in a couple weeks with Devlin's return. Talking to Johnny Saint, said Scal, this match is the best match they've probably had that wasn't a gimmick match since they've been. It is the best match they've had that wasn't a gimmick match. I prefer their Falls Count Anywhere match more than this, but I mean, look at what you had to work with. That's easy to prefer. It's kind of not fair, but this was great.
Yeah.
This was great, competitive. Devlin won like a shitty little heel should. That $1 million shit-eating grin smile after sneaking out that victory, kind of using the ropes a little bit after the roll-up, the Kata roll. And yeah, I mean, I finally think I got some Travis Banks tights I can settle on too. These look pretty good. I think they got the design down finally. Because they've tweaked his look so much since he's been here. And that was never the fucking issue with Travis Banks. His look was fine.
Yeah, it's just the way you used him.
Exactly. I liked when he came out with the New Zealand flag over his head and the little blue tights, but whatever. But yeah, what did you think of this match? I know you liked it.
Yeah, I thought it was fantastic. The best main event I think we've had this year on NXT television. I can't get past the fact that Jordan Devlin should be more than a cruiserweight champion right now. That they've had so many chances to do things with him, but never pulled the trigger. But right now, I'll take what I can get with Jordan Devlin, and He's been a great cruiserweight champion from what I've heard. I've not seen all his title defences on NXT, and you said he's been on SmackDown, etc. But I think Travis, like based on this match and based on how well he worked with Travis Banks, because these two could have gone out and phoned it in after their great feud last year. They didn't have to put on a match that you preferred the Falls Count Anywhere match. I thought this was much better with much more content, but I think this title reign is going to be the making of Jordan Devlin in WWE, and that we're finally seeing the real Jordan Devlin that everywhere else is seen.
And having that resume being trained by Finn Balor in that company doesn't hurt either.
Yeah, that's true.
I like the little switch up. Since he's been the champ, he wears like purple now because the belt's technically purple, or it was. I still think purple when I think of that belt. Where do you think Travis Banks goes from here? Is the ultimate question. We talk about Devlin. It's easy to see money in a future for him.
I mean, you could technically class Travis Banks as a cruiserweight, but then at the same time, what's the point? Jordan Devlin will, he'll go back to NXT when the travel ban's lifted and this coronavirus is done and dusted. And I'm sure NXT UK won't even see the Cruiserweight Championship on a even semi-regular basis.
No.
But so I think Travis Banks needs to now go to WWE management, maybe get his release, maybe ask for a few months off, and then come back in 2021 with
rejuvenated,
a new focus. Yeah, a new focus, maybe a new look, and make it known. Obviously, you can't hold WWE to ransom, but make it known that he'll give it a second go. But if they do nothing with him this time and squander him, then he won't be back.
I feel like right now, glass ceiling for him is the ultimate best option he could ever get in this company. At the most, I could see him being on NXT jobbing to the Undisputed Era. That's the most I can see them ever doing with him at this point. As much as I'd love to see him in there with like a Kyle O'Reilly, as much as like him and Roderick Strong or Kyle O'Reilly, they'd be fantastic matches. My God, but
yeah, he deserves so much more, like so much more. And it's not just NXT UK. It's like it's hard to see where he goes in wrestling. Period. Now, I think he's probably done everything he can do in progress.
Yeah,
as well.
Yeah, there's nothing. I mean, he was one of the faces of that company the past 2 or 3 years. Let's be honest. He was one of the key guys.
Yeah. He's a rare case of a wrestler who is still really good, but you don't know where he goes in the entirety of professional wrestling from here on.
I go to Japan. If I'm Travis Banks, I go to untapped waters. I think he suits that style completely. And the guys do very well for themselves over there. And look, Jesus Christ, they made CJ Parker into a fucking star in Japan. I'm sure Travis Banks would be fine. If Juice Robinson can do it, I mean...
That is a good call. I can see him in New Japan, against, their top stars.
Banks and Okada, sign me the fuck up.
I would love to see that. Not just because it'd be a great match, but I'd love that for Travis Banks. He's put so much, Travis, into making a name for himself over here. Progress, Fight Club. I think ICW's had a few appearances for, and NXT UK, and I just think he's got some back, but I don't think he's appreciated as much as he probably should have been. So, do you know what? You're right. Maybe going to somewhere that you've never really been before, do 5 years there, show the world that you're better, than how you've been used or how they've treated you. And who knows, after that, the world's your oyster.
What about AEW?
Elevate. Would AEW use him properly?
I don't know. That's a wild card question right now. I have no clue. Because, I mean, They're pushing Archer. They're pushing. I mean, they are. They do. They live up to their words. They take underutilized guys and do something with them. But it's such a new company too. You kind of gotta. I don't know. I don't know. I just felt like being an asshole.
The thing is with AEW, it's like a promise is a promise. Fine. Like we'll take underutilized talent. We'll put them on TV. You know, we'll make something of them.
Unless your name's Sean Spears.
At the same time, say again.
Unless your name's Sean Spears.
Oh yeah, unless you're Sean Spears, and then we'll just do nothing with you, even though you've got the potential. But you know, with Travis Banks, it's like, and this isn't AEW's fault. They've got 2 hours a week, but there's only so many spots on a card. You've already got, you know, a packed roster. You're already using a lot of talent in a lot of different storylines. Would Travis Banks, you know, float or sink? I think he'd probably sink in AEW.
He'd make it feel more worldly in the men's division, because the women's division's too worldly. That's my issue with that division. But the men's division is pretty much all Gaijin, American talent, except for like a Jimmy Havoc and the occasional Japanese guy. Yeah, I think. But does he really fit in AEW? I cannot picture it, and I don't think he'd be treated any better. I mean, maybe a little bit. He'd get a little steam, but I feel like it would wear off fast. The hype and the buzz, and I don't know.
I feel like if he went to AEW, he's a lifetime mid-carder. If he goes to Japan, he stands a chance at being the main event star he once was in Progress.
There you go. I can't think of any other way to tie the bow and grade this week's episode of NXT UK.
Well, I'm going to give this a very, very strong B+. It would have maybe got an A- had it not been for the opening tag match. Making Imperium look weak. And just the Noam Dar match just thrown in the middle for no real reason other than to get him a Cruiserweight Championship shot, which might not even happen now.
What kept my grade from being a B+ and making it a B was the Noam Dar match and the things you said, plus that goddamn Piper Niven thing totally took me out. The Dave Mastiff, Ilya Dragunov stuff, blah, blah, blah. I didn't care. Thank God for this, the Nina Samuels match. The tag match, like you said, those guys got way too much offense down. The solid B, though, show. There's a solid B. I would definitely I always recommend watching NXT UK, but definitely recommend watching this one. So much better than what we've gotten, like we said, and look, I know it's already aired, I think, but I look forward to this week's episode after this.
I mean, I do. Honestly, like with everything up in the air now, and yeah, we might go into this more next week, but you know, with the coronavirus and the travel bans and nobody being able to wrestle, I'm not sure the result of this week's Battle Royal, which we'll review next week, is going to even matter.
To hell with social distancing, because next week we're getting a Battle Royal, man. 20-man Battle Royal #1 contenders match when we return next week. Until then, Matt, one more time, where can everyone catch you?
Well, if we survive WrestleMania, Travis, and we don't all die a long, slow death of boredom, you can find me on Twitter at The Perfect Tenant. You can log on to unismack.bigcartel.com. Grab yourself an official t-shirt. Grab yourself a copy of my book, The Undertaker, A Trip Down Death Valley. Also available from CompletelyNovel.com. And watch out on the channel soon for Tenant Talks Issue 8. That will be in the next week or so. I've just got a few little bits to do first before I concentrate a whole week's worth of editing on that. But that is coming your way.
And we hope you guys enjoyed the bonus episode this week for Mania season as we went retro once again. Thank you guys for checking out WrestleMania 14. What a pay-per-view that was.
Yeah, I'm glad. Do you know what? While we're stuck inside, Travis, I think we should make a pledge to our viewers, like a retro every month or maybe every week. Depends on what we've got on.
We will get back to the retro business sooner than later. Oh my God, it's not even late over here. It's 9:45. Until then, on Twitter, at the Hibiki TMD, that red button right down below, hit it. Subscribe, all the goodness, retro gaming, pro wrestling, heavy metal podcasts, game streams, all the good shit Until then, Union Smack, Cheerio Bates.